Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have Tyler on Death and Taxes against John on TES. Now, this is a really interesting matchup in that Death and Taxes really can't do anything in the first turn, which is where TES is potentially the most dangerous. Usually you want to have Force of Will for facing down an opposing combo deck like this, but as it turns out, as the game goes on longer, Death and Tax is one of the more difficult decks to play against. You have Thalia, Sanctum Prelate, Mana Denial in the form of Wasteland, and Rishadenport, Phyrexian Revoker. There's all sorts of reasons why this matchup can go horribly wrong, but none of them really involve the first turn. So John knows the force is clear, knows the path is clear, there's no Force of Will, and let's see what he can do. While the shields are down. On next turn, Thalia could show up and completely change the dynamic. So we've got a Wishclaw Talisman. Oh, and he has to pass the turn, so... Does Tyler have the turn 2 Thalia? There are some times where you're going to have a turn 2 Stoneforge and just hope that that's actually going to be good enough versus the matchup you find yourself in, but realistically, Stoneforge not going to be of much consequence here. Silent clearing the cantrip land. What are we calling those? Let me know in the comments what we're calling the Horizon Canopy lands. First one from Future Sight. We now have a cycle of them. And Rishadenport tapping down. That is not looking good here. So couldn't John have used the Wishclaw Talisman there? Like, what could his hand be that a Wishclaw Talisman activation wouldn't have been good enough? He's got a Dark Ritual and outcomes. All the accoutrement for keeping track of everything in an ad nauseum while he is tapped out. He's not played a land yet. Burning Wish, Rite of Flame. Defense Grid. Ooh, Echo of Aeons. That's a big hit. Looks like he has to stop there. Does he have enough to actually get the job done? Hasn't used the Wishclaw Talisman yet, but he does have some mana rocks to up his storm count and provide some additional mana. Oh, double LED? Yikes. So this could go any number of ways. Almost none of them are going to be okay for Tyler. Rite of Flame along with Dark Ritual. And he's got the draw 7 as a worst case scenario. It's not bad when worst case scenario you're just going to be able to draw 7 cards. Oh, I forgot about the Burning Wish, so that's totally lethal. And there's our foil tendrils from Scourge, taking it down. So usually an ad nauseum when you're at 20 is going to kill you. Kill your opponent. It's incredibly unlikely to fumble from there. He continued to push after getting lethal. Getting that Echo of Aeons wasn't really necessary. Tyler mulliganing and finding Deafening Silence. That is gonna need an answer from John. He mulled to 5 to find the enchantment. A little bit of finger pointing there. Not actually sure how John's going to answer this. Maybe it'll be a Chain of Vapor. Maybe an Abrupt Decay. We'll see. Or maybe he won't. Polluted Delta. Onslaught, which I think are approaching like 80... They used to be a $100 card. Maybe they're headed back there for the original Onslaught. Both Polluted Delta and Flooded Strand at one point were that expensive. Now, Rite of Flame, probably the best use of that card, imprinting it on Chrome Mox. Not a fan of the card, not going to lie. I think Cabal Ritual a much, much stronger card. Particularly in the face of disruption. And it makes 5 mana. Ad Nauseam costs 5. 5 black mana. Alright. Verdant Catacombs. Grabbing a tropical island. Signaling that perhaps we will see an abrupt decay here in the near future. Or immediately. Let's go. Just main phasing Abrupt Decay, and now Thalia shows up. Does John have more answers? Wishclaw Talisman, paying the full 3 mana needed for that. Caracas and a Aether Vial at 2. And this is going to be interesting to see if Tyler is tempted to tick up Aether Vial. Oh, he's got perhaps another one slightly off camera. We'll see. Aether Vial at 2, along with a Caracas and a Thalia, is just brutal. Just like a gymnastics routine. If you do try and kill the Thalia, they can just bounce it back to their hand and then put it back onto the battlefield with their Caracas once per turn. Stoneforge Mystic coming in. So John easily taking game 1 with that Burning Wish kill. The wishes were much, much stronger when you could get cards from exile. I actually liked that a lot more. We used to use Burning Wish in Vintage to be able to cast multiple Yawgmoth Swills per turn. That was some dangerous stuff. And oh, Tyler actually giving the Wishclaw back. Let's see what he gets with it. You could get like a Revoker or something just to get the extra value. Aethersworn Canonist. More hate. John going to be able to play 1 non-artifact spell per turn, and that is going to cost 3 more mana in all likelihood. We've got a Chain of Vapor, bouncing Thalia. Is that Aether Vial off screen tapped? I guess it was tapped for the Canonist. Massacre, a powerful sideboard card, but again with that Thalia dance being able to get picked up and put back down does make it difficult to actually clear the way in a meaningful way. A lot of the time Thalia could just come right back down and continue to prevent any type of truly productive lines. Chain of Vapor, bouncing the Aethersworn Canonist. Bunch of artifacts being played here. So it looks like that other Aether Vial not at 2. Which is, I think, really important in this matchup. Played a bit of Death and Taxes, played a lot of Storm. Let me know, any of you Death and Taxes players watching, if you're ever going to want to not have that vial at 2 to be able to get that Thalia back into play on your opponent's turn. I mean, maybe to get like a Sanctum Prelate down, but this hasn't been used. Burning Wish, crack LED. That is a lot of mana. Enough to peer into the abyss and draw half of his deck. John gonna gladly pay half of his life to draw half of his library. I mean, you got to imagine this is going to be enough. What a bizarre variance it would be if this is not sufficient. This is John kind of quickly playing through what will ultimately end up being needed for the win. I guess he had mana floating. Oh, he did have a mana floating there. So yeah, that will do it. Just Burning Wish into Tendrils. And I think Tyler, considering what he could have potentially done differently, that's what Storm decks do. They put you in a situation where you got to play really, really tight Magic. And if you don't, you just hand the win to your opponent. And it's not always obvious. I mean, that takes a lot of reps to really figure out. That is all for this one. But don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.